Reaching for Research by Students for Students was created by the BIO5 Institute to introduce our experiences to undergraduate and high school students interested in working in research labs. Listen as our guests describe their path to STEM and their current work, so you too might join a lab and discover more within the world of science.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Reaching for Research by Students for Students. My name is Jordan Pilch, and I am a senior here at the University of Arizona, studying molecular and cellular biology and microbiology. I also work here at the BIO5 Institute as a public affairs student assistant. Today, we welcome Meyoon Tran, who is a senior here at the University of Arizona. Welcome.
Hello, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, do you want to give a quick introduction to yourself?
Yes, I am a current rising senior at the U of A. I am an MCB, or molecular and cellular biology major. Yes, go MCB. I'm also an MCB ambassador, which is really cool. I do research here at Life Sciences South. We do research on neurodegeneration. The lab focuses on ALS and FTD phenotypes.
Are you in the Nagy lab?
I am in the Zarnescu lab.
Zarnescu
lab. We
okay.
are sort of like known as the fly lab. So we use the Drosophila melanogaster as our model organism, and so we do research on the fly brain. My focus is specifically on aging.
Awesome.
And how aging affects the brain, and how stress and aging play together, and figure out how that works.
How does this happen? Wonderful. All right, so that kind of gets us into our first question then.
Yeah.
How did you get into STEM? What was your journey to your current position?
Okay, I don't know how far back you want.
As far back as you are comfortable
as
going.
far
This
back.
is for middle school to college kids, so
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd love to hear.
I think middle school is a very good starting point.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of having very awesome science teachers. I think they are mostly the core and the reason why I'm still continuing to do what I do.
Yeah.
You know, it's very inspiring.
Apologize, type 1 diabetes. Continue on.
No worries. They are like a huge and major sort of catalyst for my interest in science. For example, in 6th grade, I had, as a class, we dissected a sheep heart, which I don't think a lot of students get to do in 6th grade.
Oh my gosh.
But that was really, really awesome. We got to, stick our knives into the chambers and explore all of this crazy stuff that goes on in the physiology of it. And so that really, made me have a strong interest in science. And it's not just, it's not just, the science of the physiology. There's also, plant sciences and geosciences. There's so many types of sciences out there.
So many out there.
Yeah. And so, in high school, I really got interested in the physiology, how the human body works and how the human body, repairs itself, how it becomes disease, and how it works in, the amazing ways. And one of my senior sort of high school, paper thesis was on athletes, and sort of how athletes are the way they are, and there's like genetics that goes into the muscle fibers, and what kind of muscle fibers are activating when you're doing certain sports. And I was very interested in that. And in college, I had a great MCB professor, Dr. Ted, and he actually was the reason why I'm an MCB major. And
I love that.
And so it's a lot of influences in my path into science, and so I do appreciate and had a wonderful
I'm so glad that you
Yeah.
had those wonderful teachers. I'm a STEM educator myself, so I'm like, go STEM educators, you've got this.
Of course.
Inspiring.
Yeah.
You also mentioned at the beginning that you were an MCB ambassador.
Yeah.
What is an MCB ambassador?
Yes, an MCB ambassador I think of is sort of like the cheerleading team for the major.
I like that description.
A cheerleader. I think so, because I think our main goal is not only just to inspire students to take up this major, but it's also a way of like having students explore new
Yeah.
options. I think MCB is a pretty small major compared to
others like
other
biology,
majors,
physiology,
neuroscience and stuff like that. And so I think it gets lost in sort of like the many options that we have to offer at the University of Arizona. And so I think as an MCB ambassador, it gives me an opportunity to talk about, the great classes and the great faculty that we have and the advisors and people that are there to support you, in the much of the same ways that I've been supported. And so I think it's a great opportunity to talk about.
I like that it's kind of combining your love of science with also your apparent passion to go through and mentor and give what you've given or what has been given to you to others as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good bridge. I didn't think about that
like
that before, but yeah, I do appreciate that.
So now we're going to ask some stuff about your current research. You had mentioned that you're working in the Zarnescu lab, and before our recording started, you mentioned that you're part of UBURP. We've talked about UBURP on this program before. How did you get involved with UBURP and the Zarnescu lab?
Yes, I am a huge advocate for UBURB, which is Undergraduate Biological Research Program. It's a program that really benefits undergraduate research, people that are interested in research, people that don't know if they're interested in research and want to try it out. And one of the huge thing that drew me into this, the program is that it's a paid summer sort of research program.
That's so cool.
As someone that's like the first generation college student, being able to have a paid opportunity to do research is an immense opportunity to do. And so I really do appreciate the program. And the way that I heard about it actually is from another UBURB. I think she was the UBURB ambassador, like the president of the UBURB ambassador. She was a preceptor for my chem class, and she just talked about UBURB, and so that's how I got heard of it. And I applied, luckily I got in, and I've been in since freshman summer year.
So it's a rolling program. You stay in it after you've been accepted?
Yeah. I was able to stay in it, the entire time because I qualified for work studies, so I was able to continue my research during the semester, and that's one of the ways that you can continue being a part of the UBURB program.
That's so cool. That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And how did you get matched with the Zarnescu lab?
Yes, and so that's a good question. And I think a lot of people assume that when you get into a research program that's something that is assigned to you. That at least that's how I looked at it, that I'm in a research program, I give them what I'm interested in, maybe they'll match with me, and it's one of those processes where you start to realize you have a choice in who you want to work with and what you want to do, which is one of the things that I didn't think that I would get a choice in saying, I'm interested in disease. Let's see who's also interested in disease and help me get to where I'm at. And so, the program was just like, hey, I know you're interested in research, go find a mentor. It wasn't that they weren't.
Slightly terrifying.
Yeah, it's a little bit, and they were very supportive all the way through. I sat down with my advisor, we talked about, I had a list of PIs, which are the lab person,
Kind of like person with the PhD supervisor
that runs the lab. And so I talked with them, and we talked about the pros and cons of lab, because not everything's going to be perfect. And so we talked about what I wanted to get out of the program and what I wanted to get out of my work in research. And so we came with the conclusion that I want to pursue a research in disease and in neuroscience. And I reached out to Dr. Daniela Zarnescu. I wrote her an email. I said, hey, I just got accepted into this program. It's a really cool opportunity. I would love to work with you. Can I set up a meeting with you? And she was very generous, and we sat down and talked about, sort of my overall goals. And I was very surprised that we talked about less about her research and more about what I wanted out of the research and sort of my career wise. And so I appreciate it a lot, and I really knew that this was someone that was going to support me through my career in college, and so it's been awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you have that.
Yeah, me too.
You mentioned that you just sent her an email about it.
Yeah.
How did you feel as you were sending that email? Because that's something that when I get questions regarding how do I just get into a lab, I always say send an email. How did you feel when you were sending that email as somebody who was accepted into the lab?
It was scary. It was very, I wasn't sure. So, to put it in perspective, this was my first year in college, or I just finished my first year. I just got accepted in this program. I was very young, and you would say naive, and very sort of ambitious, but scared in so many ways. And so I had a lot of advice. A lot of people tell me too, as to, just send an email, just ask. And I was so scared because I think I was scared of them saying no. That was the biggest part, right? Like, what's the worst they could do is say no. And to me, that was very, very big. I was like, I don't want to be rejected. And I think it's that fear of being vulnerable, is being like putting yourself out there, as to, you show them who you are, like, here's who I am, and here's what I want to do, and I want to work with you, and to have them say no. And I've been rejected before previously with other labs, and so I think it gets less painful the more you get rejected, unfortunately. And so, after the first, after the second, after the third, and you're like, okay, it's time. I've formatted this email the best I could. I put myself out there as the best I could, and that is the only thing I can really do. And so I think it's just to keep trying. It gets easier the more you do it.
That's really inspiring. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Of course.
So, beyond doing STEM, beyond doing research, what are things that keep you motivated? What are things that you like doing outside of science? Because researchers aren't just, I only do science. This is the only thing I do. Eating and sleeping, don't need to do that. Just research.
Well, definitely eating and sleeping
Obviously.
is important. I have 2 cats. I recently adopted 2 cats, Cece and Kipo.
Those are so cute.
Yes, they keep me company, and they're very, very cute. They started I've recently adopted them a few months ago, and so they're getting used to me, and they've recently started sleeping with me on the bed, and so I'm very, like, comforted by just little animals.
I love pets so much. They're so cute.
Yeah, and I like to play games. I like to play, sort of like, I have a PS4, which is left over from my older brother, but I go on there and I play some games. I watch some movies.
What's your favorite?
Oh man, I play.
I'm putting you on the spot now.
I like the Spider-Man game.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar.
I've seen it. I've never played it. My type of wheelhouse of game is the life simulator games.
Okay.
Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing. Favorite games.
Sims.
I love. I have an unfortunate number of hours in The Sims that I am not going to broadcast.
So do I. Years ago I was, and I also play Stardew Valley. I don't know if you are interested in those life simulation games. Yes.
My computer background is actually the Stardew Valley night theme, but it doesn't have
awesome.
the little, like, you've made this much money. I love it so much.
Yeah. No, it turns very quickly for me into a very capitalistic, trying to get as much money as you can, as fast as you can. So, for those relaxing games, I really do try to, like, slow down, but it's hard.
I feel that.
I also like Red Dead Redemption. I don't know if you...
I have heard of that,
I watched my brother play it, and so I just like to ride on the horses and go around. That to me is a relaxing game. Yeah.
Do you prefer Red Dead 1 or 2?
Oh, I didn't play the first one. I just
played the second one. Just the second one. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was one of those, like, I just hopped onto that bandwagon.
You're just like, I'm here now. I'm doing this. You can't stop me.
Yeah, and recently too, I also started going to the gym again. I used to do a lot of sports in high school, which is...
What sports did you do?
Yeah, I did track. I did sprinting for a little bit. Not my kind of thing. I did throw. I did discus throw and shot put. And I'd also did cross country for a little bit, for 1 year, but I say I did it,
Like, I did it, I tried it, wasn't for me, but I tried it.
Yeah, and swim for 3 years, and then, kickboxing. That's outside of school sports, but that's one of the other, sort of hobbies that I was very interested in, so I try to keep the kickboxing thing around as much as I can, because I think that's a huge stress reliever, just to go and let your energy
out there and being able to be violent in a controlled sense, you know?
Yeah, just letting your energy out and just having like a good time, you know, just not all stiff and in a dark room. Yeah, awesome.
All right, well, I have one last question for you, and it's kind of a two-parter.
Okay. What
is one piece of advice that you would give to your 16-year-old self? And what is one piece of advice you would give to somebody who is just getting into research?
Okay, so 16-year-old me, what was I doing? I was in high school.
Yep.
16-year-old.
Sophomore,
junior year. Okay, yeah. And I think for me specifically, I think I would say relax. Yeah. I think I would say, you know, you are still young. And I know I'm still young now, but I honestly thought I would die before 21.
I'm so glad you had that experience too. As a teenager, you're like, man, when I get to be 20, it's just over. I'm dead now.
Yes, I'm happy to report I am 21 now, and I'm very happy to be, you know, way older than 21 in the future. But yes, I think I was very set on, I was very dead set on one thing, which was getting good grades and focusing on school and doing the sports. And I think enjoying my sports and, you know, doing cross country, doing track, it's a lot, but was the source of all the fun that I had. You know, getting to go on track meets, getting to go to swim meets, those were the times that I was like the most relaxed, the most happy, the most enjoyed. And so I think I would tell myself to just relax. It's all gonna be okay. You can go through it, and, you know, give yourself the time that you need, and give yourself, you know, the space that you need to keep going. And
For sure. I love that.
Yeah, and so let's see. Wanting to join research. I think the best advice I could give someone that wants to get started in research and wants to go to research is talk to your professors. And I'm assuming this is college level students. Talk to your professors. Look for programs. You know, talk to your other students. I think the best resources are the people that are around you, more so than, you know, obscure websites that
agree with that.
Put up. I think that the websites are there for a reason, right? But you get guided to them not through because they're up there on Google to see, but through people that you talk to that know what you want, to know what your aspirations are, and are willing to help you get there. And so, you know, I have had great many mentors from many walks of life that has gotten me where I am, and I wouldn't be here without them.
So. I love that. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Of course.
So with that, thank you to everyone for listening to this episode of Reaching for Research by Students for Students. And thank you once again to Meyoon. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm happy to be here. It was awesome.
All right. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Reaching for Research by Students for Students. Today, you heard Meyoon talk a lot about the Undergraduate Biology Research Program, which we've linked in the description down below if you would like to check that out. We also got a chance to see Meyoon's cats, and we know that midterms are coming up, and petting animals is a great way to do stress relief, so we highly suggest you go and pet an animal. Do something to help you with stress relief. It's important. And we can't wait to see where you go in the world of science.